At least 50 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed after an attack on a military barracks in Mykolaiv. A dramatic video shows one soldier being rescued. He's one of about 200 who were sleeping when 3 Russian missiles hit the base on the northern edge of that city. Some 57 people are being treated in hospitals. Rescue workers are seen crawling over giant piles of rubble looking for survivors 30 hours after that attack. From the ground, let's bring in Dmytro Gurin. He is a Ukrainian MP. He joins us from Lviv. Sir, thank you so much for your time today. How are you doing, first and foremost?
We're all okay here. We have a war, but we already used to it during these 3 weeks. So we have a war and humanitarian catastrophe in Ukraine. That's how we are.
So you're definitely contending with this huge catastrophe, as you call it. We understand, though, there's an agreement that's been put in place to allow for humanitarian corridors. How is that going thus far? Is this being respected? Is this being implemented? Is this being honored?
I'm very pessimistic about it. As a person who lived 12 years during Putin regime in Russia from 2002 to 2014, before Maidan, I know that the agreements with Russia, they cost less than paper that are written in. And I am really pessimistic about diplomatic efforts and about humanitarian corridors. Only one story: the first day when Russians agreed to open humanitarian corridor from Mariupol, they bombed places where people met to evacuate the city. So it's just blah blah. All of this talks about humanitarian corridors. They, during the whole siege of Mariupol, they opened it for 24,000 people. As for now, and all other 300,000 people are in Mariupol now, and they don't have food, and they don't have water. So all these stories about humanitarian corridors is just, for us to discuss in in the news on TV, but not in reality.
What goes through your mind, sir, when you hear about reports such as the one you just mentioned, the Russians moving further into Mariupol? Are there fears amongst your loved ones, friends, family, constituents? You're an MP there in the area, that this is, instead of getting better, perhaps only going to get worse?
Mariupol is under medieval siege, and nothing goes better in Mariupol now. I know that my parents there, they are alive. I heard from them like a minute 2 days ago. It was a really bad connection. I didn't hear what they said, but I heard the voice of my father and the voice of my mom, so I know they're alive. But all my friends, parents of my friends, and children, and like dozens of people, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they're alive. And all my, 15 years of my past, school, university, all of these were destroyed. The school is destroyed, university is bombed, all the hospitals in the city are bombed, all my neighborhood where I grew up, it looks like the video you're showing now, and everything is destroyed. Even the trees I cleaned up when I was a child. Even the trees were cut, and because people prepare food on the open fire. There is no heating, water, electricity, no any communications, and people are out of water and out of food. I'm not telling about medicine. It's a long time already without any medicine and any help, emergency help in Mariupol. The shelling never stops, bombing never stops, like hundreds of bombs. Airplanes drops hundreds of bombs. I mean, literally during every 24 hours. And artillery works all the time. And when I talked with my parents last time, they said about street fights. But you see on video, we have a lot of space between buildings, and there are street fights with union of tanks.
Wow.
So people not just go out to the street just because, the tanks are around you and they're shooting each other. So it's a total disaster.
Yeah, you have your president essentially warning Russia that this will cost Russia for generations to come. I wonder, sir, as a final question to you, what the impact will be on your country. Do you think it'll take generations to rebuild, sir?
I don't think it will take generation to
Okay,
rebuild
good.
because now all the world is united with Ukraine and around Ukraine. I'm agree with Mr. Zelensky that Russia will pay generations for this. And frankly speaking, I think there is no any Russia anymore. Their myth, their moral, it's broken. That's all. They became just a fascist state. But now we have problems to decide now, not thinking about what will be in the Russia with the Russian Federation like in 20 years. Our problems now, it's hundreds of thousands of people who are in the mousetraps in Mariupol, in Kherson and other Ukrainian cities. And if we are really united, and it's not just the talks about that everybody, with Ukraine, that means that we have to invent the way to get our people, our children, and our elderly, our civilians out from the cities. Because 3 weeks ago, it was an ordinary war, army against army. And the last 2 weeks, it's not the war anymore. It's mass murdering. And the idea of Putin in Mariupol, and we clearly see it now, to start a hunger. And now we're
Dmytro Gurin, sir, we thank you so much for your time. So much more that we should be discussing, and we'll carry this conversation further in the minutes ahead. But we thank you for your time, sir, and we wish you the best.
Thank you.